Psalm 129, a song of deliverance from long affliction. Psalm 129 is a poetic reflection on Israel's long and painful history of suffering, yet it is equally a celebration of God's faithfulness and the ultimate futility of the nation's enemies. As one of the songs of ascents, it would have been sung by pilgrims traveling up to Jerusalem, people who knew firsthand the hardships and deliverance embedded in their national story. The psalm begins with a communal declaration, "Many a time they have afflicted me from my youth." By speaking as a unified voice, Israel describes itself almost as a person recalling childhood trauma. This youth refers to Israel's early days as a nation, slavery in Egypt, wandering in the wilderness, and repeated attacks from surrounding powers. Through all of it, the refrain rises with confidence. Though afflicted again and again, they have not prevailed. The psalm thus opens with a mixture of realism and defiance. Israel does not pretend the suffering was small. It acknowledges it plainly, yet sets beside it a greater truth: every attempt to destroy the nation failed. The imagery intensifies as the psalmist compares the oppression to plowmen dragging their blades across a back, carving long furrows into human flesh. This is not simply poetic flourish, it is a visceral depiction of cruelty, intended to evoke both sympathy and righteous anger. But just as the picture becomes bleakest, the psalm turns abruptly to divine intervention. The Lord is righteous, He has cut in pieces the cords of the wicked. The cords are what fasten the plow to the oxen. By cutting them, God halts the plowing altogether. The oppressors lose their power not because Israel overthrows them, but because God Himself intervenes. His righteousness is shown not only in moral purity but in His commitment to justice. He defends the oppressed and disrupts the schemes of the wicked. The psalm then shifts from testimony to prayer, calling on God to deal with those who hate Zion. Zion represents not only Jerusalem but the presence, promises, and kingdom of God. To oppose Zion is to oppose God Himself. Israel therefore asks that these enemies be put to shame and forced to retreat. The prayer is not vindictive but rooted in justice. Those who wage war against God's purposes should not succeed. To illustrate their desired downfall, the psalmist uses a striking comparison. The enemies should be like the grass that grows on rooftops. Ancient houses had flat roofs covered in dust where seeds might sprout, but there was no soil depth to sustain growth. Such grass would wither almost immediately, producing no harvest. This image conveys the wish that the enemy's ambitions be shallow, fragile, and fruitless, that their plans dry up before they can even take shape. No reaper ever gathers such withered grass. It is too insubstantial to be harvested or bound. The psalm concludes with a reversal of the traditional harvest blessing. Normally, passers-by would greet laborers in the field with words such as, "The blessing of the Lord be upon you." But the psalmist prays that no such blessing be spoken over the enemies of Zion. They have placed themselves against God, therefore they should not receive words of divine favor. This closing line reinforces the psalm's central theme: those who oppose God's people will not share in the blessings that flow from God's covenant. In its entirety, Psalm 129 is both honest and triumphant. It acknowledges deep wounds but emphasizes that those wounds did not end in defeat. It remembers suffering not to dwell on pain but to celebrate survival and the justice of God. For later readers, the psalm becomes a testimony to the resilience of God's people across generations and a reminder that oppression, no matter how severe, cannot overturn divine purposes. It encourages trust in God's righteous intervention and affirms that the schemes of the wicked ultimately wither like grass without roots.
Psalm 129, a song of ascents. Many a time they have afflicted me from my youth. Let Israel now say, many a time they have afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. The powers plowed on my back, they made their furrows long. The Lord is righteous, He has cut in pieces the cords of the wicked. Let all those who hate Zion be put to shame and turn back. Let them be as the grass on the housetops, which withers before it grows up, with which the reaper does not fill his hand, nor he who binds sheaves his arms. Neither let those who pass by them say, "The blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord."